The Brewers bullpen has been going through some injuries. They're going to be healthy enough to help carry this team through the postseason. That's next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Great to have you along here on a Friday, midday. Chuck Freimund, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Final day, just ready to take off from here and get out of this hotel room. I've been doing the show for most of the weekend. This show is a terrific show brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. By 5 Hour Energy. Took one already today. 5 Hour Energy. Man, so many assorted flavors, good stuff. And 5 Hour Energy. Hey, enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to get your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold, try something new in-store, online, 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Coming up on the show today, this bullpen. Are the Brewers going to be okay at the back end of this bullpen? We'll get into that and some of their middle relief choices as well. Priester did it again, man. The Brewers win with him on the hill. We'll talk about that. And Friday here, we'll get to some of your questions that you sent me here, both through YouTube and on Twitter. All right. This Brewers team, I think we're all set with the starting rotation, right? I think we're all good with Peralta, Woodruff, and Priester. With those three right there. I talked a little bit about that on my podcast yesterday. But now the bullpen. The bullpen has been, I think, sometimes unappreciated. You know, the bullpen guys, when somebody out of the bullpen flares up and has a bad day, I feel like it's a natural for just not Brewers fans, but for baseball fans, no matter what team you're supporting, is to get on that player. Ashby has a bad outing when he does, or if he gets hammered, or especially if a closer has a rough night. It's like, God, I'm losing my confidence in this guy. Well, and we heard a lot about that with Trevor Megill when he blew 2 save opportunities before going on the injured list. But I think this bullpen is pretty solid, right? I mean, I look around baseball, I see other teams play, and some of these guys that are coming out of bullpens, and even on some of these contenders, you're like, huh? That guy is still in the league? That guy is still trying to get outs? He's terrible. Well, the Brewers, I don't have to say that with the Brewers because I think the Brewers have solid guys. I feel like we should be confident in many of these guys the Brewers are throwing out there. Now, I don't know if they're going to have DL Hall for the postseason. They want him to pitch in a regular season game, and it's a little disappointing, not on him, but his situation that he's not back yet. I was hoping he'd be back because I feel like DL Hall can give them some big innings in the postseason. I don't know. I don't think so. I think the odd guys out right now are DL Hall because he's not back yet, and they want him to pitch some regular season innings if they're going to put him on the postseason roster. Fedde and Pieps will not be on this postseason roster. Guys we're going to have to rely on. Is Jose Quintana going to make the postseason roster? Now, he's been shut down for the rest of the regular season because of the injury. He's been put on the injury list, which was a bizarre happening when it appeared that he was going to pitch on Sunday against St. Louis, and then they put him on the injury list with the calf injury. Didn't quite get that, but I don't think Quintana's going to start a postseason game if he's on this roster, but I think he's going to be used out of relief. I think so. I think they might go with the Miz in a postseason game 4. Could be that. Could be the Miz and a combination of guys. You know what happens in the postseason? We try to reinvent the wheel. We go with openers. We do this and all that. We saw that in 2018 with the Brewers when they went with an opener. But the Miz, I think, is going to pitch one of these games. I feel like he's going to start. If not, out of the bullpen. Would you feel comfortable with Miz coming out of the bullpen for a first time this year? Right? They might put him in a spot where he's got to come in and pitch an inning out of the bullpen in relief, a spot that he's not comfortable with because he's been a starter for this team. And originally, I think it was thought of that Miz would be a bullpen guy to begin with. And they brought him up here and they said, no, he's starting. And he's been great for the most part, right? He has. And I know, I feel like the Miz rubs some people the wrong way with the way he smiles out there and he's kind of lighthearted. And I get it. But I think he's still a competitor. And I think that's still a guy I feel confident in. Just don't be walking guys, Miz. Ashby, amazing. I think Ashby out of the bullpen, he got the win last night. But I think Ashby, whether you're going to use him as an opener or middle relief, I feel Ashby really having a good year. I like Ashby. I love him a lot. Koenig, too. I think Koenig, another guy, long relief, can close out a game for you. Got a save the other night. Another guy, Ashby and Koenig, two guys, two lefties, I think we both feel really, really good about, don't we? I do. Chad Patrick. Chad Patrick pitched well in relief the other night against the Angels, striking guys out in the eighth inning, struck out the side. And that might be a spot where they could use him out of the bullpen. I feel like Patrick, there's a feeling that the other night with his performance out of the bullpen, he might have earned himself on the postseason roster. Tobias Myers, I don't feel as confident in Tobias Myers as I do Chad Patrick or some of these other guys. I just don't. Not sure the organization does. There's a reason why Myers has been who won 9 or 10 games last year and was the pitcher of the year on the major league level, has spent most of this time in the minor leagues. I don't know. I think he's going to be on the postseason roster, but we'll see. Somebody's not going to. Closers. Well, I was hoping Trevor Megill was going to be back right now. Man, it is looking iffy on his situation. Are we going to get Megill back for the postseason? If not, it's Uribe and maybe Koenig. Combination of those two guys closing out games. But Uribe has been a solid eighth inning guy, ninth inning guy when he got a call upon him. I know sometimes he puts some traffic aboard, but I feel good with Uribe going out there. I do. But I feel like they got to get Megill back. What can he do? They're not rushing him back. They don't want to rush him back from his flexor strain. But Megill is having a tough time getting back. There were some good reports last week on him. Since then, has not been so good. I think Megill is a big question mark. But I feel like you put Megill as your closer, and then everybody drops down a slot as far as their role on this team. And then how do you feel about Megill? He hasn't pitched in a while on the major league roster, saving games. It'd be great to have him come back here. Obviously, the regular season next Sunday ends in Cincinnati. Get him some work before then, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know. I have some doubt whether or not Megill is going to ever pitch this season for the Milwaukee Brewers ever again because of the flexor strain. He's not recovering. We're not hearing a lot about it, and I have some question mark. Grant Anderson, I feel good with Grant on the hill. I know some of you guys, I hear from you on Twitter, you don't. I feel like Grant Anderson is going to make the postseason roster. Somebody's not going to. We'll figure that out next week. But as far as confidence level, Quintana, the bullpen, Miz, yes. Ashby, yes. Koenig, yes. Patrick, certainly. Myers, maybe not so much. Uribe, certainly I feel confident in him. Grant Anderson, yes. Yeah, I feel so with Grant. But DL Hall and Megill, big question marks on whether or not they're going to be in this postseason roster. Big question marks because of injury. Gasser, I've said all along, guys come back from Tommy John surgery. Do you want to throw him into the postseason? The Brewers have TBA coming up on Sunday, and I feel like there's some rumblings whether or not Gasser's going to pitch in this game on Sunday. I don't know. Coming back from Tommy John surgery, my stance on him, I just love to see him, if he's going to pitch next week, throw him some innings here and there. But let's not rely on Gasser, who's coming off major surgery, young guy, and is still earning his bones in base on the major league level. Let's not throw him into the postseason. All right, we come back. Priester did it again. Yelich hits a milestone. Not surprising. The Brewers sweep the Angels heading into St. Louis this weekend. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Zippix, They are a new sponsor here of Locked On Brewers. Zippix toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has got you covered with their nicotine and caffeine infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit that without vaping or smoking, Zippix can be very helpful as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors, 2 milligrams, 3 milligrams nicotine options. And of course, if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. 10% off your first order. You got to be 21 years old or older to do this. Again, warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix toothpicks. Also, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks this weekend. Get into PrizePicks because PrizePicks, you can pick more or less on 2 to 6 players projections, and your takes can become real prizes in less than 60 seconds. Football, obviously back, college and pro, daily fantasy apps. That's what PrizePicks is. Making the right call can actually pay off. Maybe you want in baseball more or less Yelich on hits, maybe more or less on Saquon Barkley rushing touchdowns, or if you want to get more or less on Jordan Love on touchdown passes, play with PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineups. That's $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But you got to use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. $50 in lineups with the PrizePicks app after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Dropping the episode midday here on a Friday. Beautiful, beautiful weekend here in Wisconsin. And the Packers are off this weekend, right? After playing. The Packers. God, when did I've been so wrapped up in the Brewers. When do the Packers play next? My goodness, how do I not know this? Because I'm just thinking Brewers. When it comes to Sundays, I'm thinking the Brewers. The Packers are playing this weekend. They're playing. God, now I got to look it up. Packers are at Cleveland this weekend. Yeah, Packers are 7.5 point favorite in Cleveland this weekend. Yeah, because last week they played on Thursday Night Football, and there was no Packer football last Sunday. So, hey, doesn't matter if the Packers are playing or not. My first priority is Brewers baseball. Always has been, always will. And this podcast, by the way, you get it on any of the podcast downloads on there, all the platforms, Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all of them. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because of you great Brewers fans out there. And, of course, a growing YouTube page. Search Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Thanks for making us your first listen to every day. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Hit me up on Twitter, as always. Chuck Freimund, Freimund. Direct message me anytime you got a question or two. I will get back to you. I guarantee it. All right, Quinn Priester. Quinn is great, right? Quinn just did it again the other night. To me, has solidified his third spot in the playoffs with another great performance. He didn't need that performance against the Angels to do it. 10 strikeouts pitched into the 6th inning, gave up one gopher ball. But the Brewers have won 19 straight games. 19 straight games with him on the hill, whether he's got a decision or not. 19 straight wins when he pitches. Man, it was cold outside in Wisconsin last time he lost a game. The Brewers lost a game when he pitched. Imagine going out there and 19 in a row you've won with him on the mound. Well, why would you ruin it by not pitching him in the postseason? Absolutely. I mean, you could argue, God, how many teams would love to have a guy like that be their game 1 starter in the postseason? In this case, he falls behind Peralta and Woodruff. But, God, Priester was just great again last night. And Christian Yelich, second time in his career that he got the 100 RBIs, just fantastic. And how about Durbin again? Durbin, a couple of RBI singles to put the Brewers on the board, including when they were down 2-1. Yeah, you didn't think. I said this in my short video. You didn't think the Brewers were going to get swept. I saw on the live line, the Brewers were actually like a plus 110 when the Angels took a 2-1 lead. Please, who's making that line? Here's a tip. Anytime the Brewers get down, go to that live line on FanDuel, and trust me, you'll be good. You will be good to go. Done it a few times, including one time when they were plus 800. That was when was that? That was last Saturday night when they were down 7-4. So yeah, live line. They were plus 110, 2-1 going into the 7th inning. Or 6th inning. Oh, please. It's easy money right there. I don't know who those line makers are who are not been paying attention, but man, you don't give the Brewers plus money anytime. But that said, Brewers go into the series against St. Louis tonight, and they are minus 115 favorites only. That's a little low. That is a little low. The Brewers have got 12 series sweeps this year. I mean, we should be calling these guys team sweep, right? Team sweep. 12 3-game sweeps. There was a time when you could guarantee the Brewers wouldn't sweep a series. They'd win the first 2 games, and they roll that Sunday lineup, as we used to say. We don't say that anymore. The Sunday lineup, and then they would lose that final game. Everybody ticked off. Now the Brewers roll that Sunday lineup or whatever, and they just continue to win games. I mean, they're just great. Outscored opponents in this 6-game homestand 42-19. 42-19. And I know postseason starts a week from tomorrow, 2 weeks from tomorrow. And I'm telling you, we better see some of this stuff. The Brewers have come too far to not be doing some of this stuff in the postseason that we've seen in the regular season. I'm going to be the first guy to be ranting if this doesn't happen in the postseason. I'll be the first guy. I will lose my mind. I will lose my mind because we can't have this happen in the postseason. This team has pulled so much magic here in this regular season, done so many great things. All right, come from behind victories, rallying from 5, 6, 3-run deficits in late innings to win ball games. All right. That kind of thing has got to happen in the postseason too. They've done it. They got a winning record against all these division champions this year, and they got to continue it on in the postseason. All right. I'm not saying you got to win every game, but this team, there's no reason why this team isn't going to make a deep run. There's no reason at all they can't make a deep run. And yeah, I know there's some doubt that's creeping into everybody's mind because of what's happened the last few seasons. Haven't won a playoff series since 2018. But I feel like this is different. Don't let me down, Milwaukee Brewers. Don't let Brewers Nations down, because we've all gotten aboard because we've been disappointed the last few years, and we've come back and supported the team. The Brewers are selling out every game at AmFam Field. If not sell out near capacity. Great crowds. Great crowds. So fans deserve this. But 2 weeks from tomorrow, it starts. And we'll be here 7 days a week doing postseason shows right here. All right, Brewers go into St. Louis right now. And we'll tell you about this matchup. Brewers did drop 2 or 3 to the 1-2 or 3 against the Cardinals. Brewers not going to lose 2 or 3 to the Cardinals. They won 2 or 3 last weekend at home, and they got to go down. St. Louis is still teetering on a wild card position, trying to get in. We'll get to that next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. 5-hour energy. Big fan of 5-hour energy right here. I used the what did I use today? I got it right here. I can't even read that. Lime. I usually use the cherry, and it is good to go. I love 5-hour energy. I take one in the afternoon. Today I took one in the morning. But 5-hour energy, you want that extra boost. 5-hour energy is going to do that for you every single time. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients, 0 sugar, and 0 crashes. Afternoons, mornings, whenever you need that energy boost, 5-hour energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get your favorites that you love to be bold, try something new, in-store or online. Visit their website, 5hourenergy.com, or go to Amazon. Amazon, I'm telling you, buy them in bulk, and that price drops like a stone. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers. Down the stretch we come here on Locked On Brewers. Brewers go to St. Louis for a 3-game set. 2 night games, Friday and Saturday, and then, of course, Sunday afternoon game at Busch Stadium. A lot of Brewers fans, I'm sure, will be there this weekend. Brewers' magic number is 4. Kind of got a kick out of Team Lifeless getting beat yesterday. Yeah, they got behind. Cubs got behind 1-0 in the 4th inning, and you might as well just hammer the live line on the Reds because the Cubs, under counsel, are not coming. A 1-0 deficit might as well have been 12-0 because the Cubs weren't coming back. Thank you, Chicago, and thank you, Craig, once again. Yeah, their little winning streak came to an end, and the Brewers' magic number now at 4. Cubs are going to get into the playoffs. I think they got a 5-game lead on getting a home field advantage for the wild card, so we'll see. And likely plays San Diego in that wild card. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. It really is. But Cincinnati, I'm pulling for the Reds to get into the postseason. I like to see the Reds from our division get into the postseason. Brewers have the Miz pitching tonight, Friday night. Patrick on Saturday. TBA, that was supposed to be Quintana's start on Sunday. For the Cardinals, Gray pitches on tonight. Sonny Gray, you know he's always tough. Michaelis on Saturday, and Liberatore pitches on Sunday. Most of the Brewers don't lose on Fridays. I gotta go see what their record is. But on Friday nights, I feel like they never lose. I'm always on here doing a post-game video about them winning a game on a Friday night. In fact, they win Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. I feel like Sundays has been the days. If they lose one, it's usually like lately it's been on a Sunday, right? I mean, they lost last Sunday to St. Louis 3-2. And that's the last time the Brewers lost a game, last Sunday. Yeah, they went 5-1 on this last homestand. But I feel like Sundays have been some of their tougher losses. Although they beat Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago, got beaten Cincinnati, I recall. But yeah, Sunday games have been difficult. I feel like the only time when the Brewers have struggled, if they ever struggle. But usually the other 6 days of the week seems like they've been solid. All right, a couple of questions I'm going to get to on the mailbag that you guys have been writing in. And let's see. Chuck, Cedar Rapids checking in. Freddie Peralta for Cy Young. How about Priester? Your thoughts? Enjoying this season, even though I haven't made it to a game. Appreciate it as always. Oh, thank you. Cedar Rapids, I'll tell you this. Yeah. Priester should get a couple of votes, right? For Cy Young. Freddie Peralta for sure. 17-6. Absolutely. Cy Young, yeah, I can see both. Priester, you've won 19 in a row with that guy in the Hill. That would have helped. He would have got a decision last night. That decision went to Ashby because the Brewers didn't rally to win that game until the 7th inning when they broke the tie. But yeah, I don't see why both of those guys. Well, Priester should get a couple of votes, and Freddie Peralta for sure. Strong consideration for Cy Young. All right. John says he signed up for Monarch Money. Great app, exactly what I needed. Thanks, John, for patronizing one of our sponsors. Question for the podcast, he says. Do you experiment with the Miz as the closer role for this year in case Megill can't come back? Tough spot for the Brewers to be in this time of the year. Now, I think you don't experiment with anything at this point of the season, unless you absolutely have to. And there might be some situations in the postseason where they have to do some things they don't want to do and use guys in certain spots. I get that totally. But I think Uribe is your closer if you don't have Megill. Or Koenig is your closer if you don't have Megill. One of those two guys. Miz is going to play a role in this. Maybe as a starter, maybe some in relief. But I don't think they have planning on him closing unless they get to an extra inning game. Who knows? Let's see. Sam says, I can't stand the Cubs acting like a big playoff dominant team. They say the Brewers do nothing in the postseason. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2018, not counting 2020. Yeah, we don't count 2020. Haven't won a playoff game since 2017. It's pathetic. Like they talk playoffs because they won the World Series 9 years ago. Well, they have won the World Series. But do you know the Cubs went from 1945 to 1984 without getting into the postseason? They went nearly 40 years without getting in the postseason. I know the Brewers had the 26-year run, but and lesser teams made the postseason back then as well. But the Cubs, Cub fans have nothing to stand on. I know you won a World Series, but your wallet should be bigger than the Brewers anyway. There's no reason why the Cubs shouldn't be dominating this series, dominating this division. But they don't operate that way at Wrigley. And keep doing you, Cubs. Keep doing you. Hey, Chuck, love listening to your show every day. Quick story. Earlier in the year, I bet my brother that the Brewers would win 90 games. He said they'd never get there. Well, they passed that already. The bet was for $1. Scott, $1 well earned, my friend. 90 wins. I would have said under the 90 wins. I think I had him at 86. So didn't see this. Certainly didn't see them pushing for 100 wins. I don't think any of us did. But you did, Sam. And, that was a bet of pride right there. And you won the $1, and you were right. But I would have taken that bet too. I would have gone the other way. I would have guessed under 90 wins. Let's see. Charles says the Brewers are perfectly capable of winning the NLDS and beyond in any way necessary. They've got plenty of pop if needed, can peck away in between. Defense and pitching should keep it close. Can't wait to see that happen. Yeah, this comes on my podcast yesterday of people saying, well, the Brewers can't win this way in the postseason. Their woodpecker style of play. To that, I say BS. They could also hit with some power on this team. When they've got guys on this team who could jack one out. So I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about their style of player. Their style of play has got the Brewers close to 100 wins so far, and that's good enough for me. Cream City Bailey says, a great Chuck of the magic number. I actually want to see this franchise set the record of 97 wins or more. I do too. Yeah, I was talking yesterday on the podcast. The magic number, I don't really read into that until we get down to the final here. But, some people count it down from 30 on in. I'm just trying to get the best record in MLB. And I see the Phillies, who trail the Brewers, are in Arizona. And Arizona's fighting for a wild card spot. Arizona just took 2 or 3 from the Giants. Hopefully, and they lost yesterday. Hopefully, Arizona bounces back and has a good series against the Phillies this weekend. I talked about Collins versus Perkins. Offensively, the last 15 days, Charles Darwin writes me, Perkins is batting .308. Collins is batting .192 in the last 15 days. Charles, appreciate the math work there. But I look over the long haul, and Perkins made a heck of a catch in the outfield on Thursday night. Collins has been doing it for me all season long. Clutch hits, and I know he's been a little erratic lately on defense, but I'm riding out Isaac Collins, Rookie of the Year in the National League. That's who I'm riding out. I don't want to hear this talk about, lately he's been taking some path to some baseballs and not getting to it. Isaac Collins is a gamer. Not that Perkins isn't. I like Perkins, but I like Collins. I love Collins. I love me some Mike Collins. Get that guy in the everyday lineup in the postseason. I don't want to be platooning anybody with him. Not at all. If you want to put Perk in for some defense, okay, but I'm riding with the guy who got me here, and that's Isaac Collins. A number of walk-off hits, clutch hits for this team all season long. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for Friday. Locked On Brewers. Thanks for making us your first listen to on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Have yourself a great weekend, everybody.